But talking about Jon, his fight potentially with Tom Aspinall. Obviously, you've been there with Jon. A lot of people are saying that Jon Jones is the underdog in this.
Let me tell you something. Michael Bisping, before Tom Aspinall fought Sergey Pavlovich, he said all kind of crazy shit. He said he's gonna beat Jon Jones. He moved like Muhammad Ali. He gonna be the next Muhammad Ali. And I said, Mike, this has to be a gimmick. I said, please tell me. It's a gimmick. You're playing a part. There's no way you believed it. He goes, Daniel, this fight is gonna last 2 minutes between him and Sergey. I said, bro, Sergey's knocked out 8 dudes in a row. Tom goes and knocks him out. Tom leaves to the back. Bisping's with him like he's part of the camp.
Daniel Cormier delivers a chilling warning to Tom Aspinall, claiming Jon Jones will crush him if he hesitates for even a second.
Chael, I thought I was going to win both times. And I thought I was going to win. I was certain of it. I thought I was going to win more the second time after fighting him. But again, I'm also just a psychopath in regards of who I think I am. But here's the deal. You're in there fighting Jon Jones, and that's when you go, well, he's a little bit different than any other human being I've ever fought. Like, the rest of the guys are pretty good. They're fast, they hit hard, and they may hit harder than him. But he doesn't really veer off of what he's trying to do. He's very mean, he's durable, he's hard to fight, and Tom Aspinall is gonna find that out.
Cormier, who knows Jon Jones better than most, didn't hold back when talking about what the British interim champ might be walking into. Having faced Jones twice in 2 of the most heated rivalries in UFC history, and losing both, including one overturned due to a failed drug test, Cormier offered a brutally honest view. He praised Aspinall's playful antics, like showing up with a rubber duck at UFC Fight Night 255, but stressed that once the cage door shuts, it won't be fun anymore. He warned that if Aspinall starts doubting himself mid-fight, Jones won't hesitate to dominate. Cormier described Jones as tough, mean, and almost impossible to figure out under pressure. He made it clear, facing Jones is unlike anything Aspinall has ever experienced.
Don't start rethinking things, because if you start rethinking things in there with that dude, he gonna run right through you. You cannot start going, hey man, it's a little harder than I thought. Because that dude, he gonna put it on you. He gonna put it on you. But I don't believe Aspinall feels that way. I believe Aspinall believes. Hey, you know what's the craziest thing about being Tom Aspinall and being young and winning? Is like the fans and the world can really make you go, I am gonna get this dude. And then you're in there and you start losing and you're like, God dang it, how am I losing?
However, Aspinall isn't sitting idle. While he's been pushing for the fight, he's also been using the time wisely, taking a different approach to training. Without a scheduled bout, he's focused purely on self-improvement. In his own words, he's been working on new techniques, experimenting during sparring sessions without being locked into a specific game plan. According to him, the freedom to evolve without the pressures of an upcoming fight has been beneficial. This flexibility may help him sharpen new skills for when the title unification bout finally happens.
I'm just sparring to get better. I'm not sparring to prepare for a fight, so it's really interesting for me that I don't have to work to a game plan in sparring. I can just practice my new techniques that I'm working on at the minute, practice new little things that I'm working on, whereas if I've got a fight, if I'm in the build up to a fight, I'm in a training camp, I'm just sparring for my opponent and what he does well, whereas like right now, I'm not within a 12-week training camp or a 10-week or 8-week training camp. So I'm just sparring, working on things that I want to work on, which is good.
Despite Aspinall's confidence and the fan buzz around the potential fight, not everyone's convinced it'll be an easy night for the Brit. Cormier pointed out that Aspinall's recent streak, 5 first-round finishes, including a quick demolition of Curtis Blaydes to defend his interim title, might be misleading when stacked against someone as battle-tested as Jones. The former double champ expressed curiosity about how Aspinall would handle a drawn-out war, especially in the championship rounds where Jones thrives.
Right.
I'm sitting out with Tom Aspinall, and I'm chatting with him. He goes, I'm about to put it on this dude. You know that the first time I fought Jon Jones, I was 36 and 38 the second time. He's now, what, 37, 38 years old? Right. This kid's young. He's the older guy. I think that this kid is as dangerous for him as anyone he's ever been in there with, partly because that's not his weight class. 205 frame. Right. He could fight Tom Aspinall better than he'd fight him at that 250, because with Cyril, He didn't look as fast. He's doing the right thing. He's no selling it. Like, he's acting like he does not matter. Make him just angry and just don't give him what he wants.
Jon is at the level that Conor is at.
I thought you were about to say Michael Jordan. No, he isn't. You done with the interview?
While the British fighter continues to rise in the public eye, former fighters and analysts are split on how this highly anticipated matchup would play out. Chael Sonnen, Cormier's co-host, believes there's a deeper reason behind the delay. Sonnen suggested that Jones may be hesitant because the UFC hasn't guaranteed a rematch clause if he loses. The concern, according to Sonnen, is what happens to Jones if he's dethroned. How would the UFC treat their aging champion if he's no longer holding the belt? Sonnen speculated that a lack of long-term planning from the promotion could be making Jones second-guess the fight. If true, the issue might be less about fear and more about future security.
Jon is a concern. They don't know what to do with me if I'm not champion. And if Tom beats me and he doesn't give me a rematch, or they won't guarantee me a rematch, what do they plan to do with me? Again, an understanding to the inside of Jon. If that in fact is accurate information, that Jon is worried about an immediate rematch and doesn't believe he's going to get it, can look at the board and see that he's 36 and on his way out, and this guy is 20-something on his way up. And he even questions why they left the belt with him, to the point that he's saying if they knew what to do with me not as champion, they'd have already done it. That's very objective. So is it as simple as guaranteeing Jon a rematch? Very interesting point.
UFC CEO Dana White recently reignited hopes that the fight is still on the table. During a fiery press conference, White made it clear that all the reports floating around are just noise. He stood firm in his belief that Jones versus Aspinall could be the biggest heavyweight fight in UFC history. Though he didn't provide a date or location, White confirmed the UFC is determined to make the fight happen in 2025. He also made it clear that no decision would be finalized outside of UFC's inner circle. His comments revealed that while Aspinall and his camp may be frustrated, the UFC is playing the long game, and it's their timeline that matters.
You said you were super confident, it's definitely going to happen. Are you still super confident?
Still super confident.
Do you remember another fight that people are kind of bitching at you about as much as this one?
Yeah, there's been plenty, but I've said since day one, this will be the biggest heavyweight fight in the history of the company and in the history of the sport. This will be a bit.
There's also a legacy factor at play. For Jones, taking this fight could further solidify his status as the greatest of all time. For Aspinall, it's the opportunity of a lifetime to dethrone the undisputed king and unify the titles. But the risk is real. A loss for either man carries serious weight. Aspinall risks being stuck in interim champion limbo, while Jones could see his dominant legacy tarnished.
A guy named Tom Aspinall, who every time I speak to him, he talks about you being his inspiration, you being his favorite fighter, you being the guy he wants to be like. He looks up to you with the utmost respect. I mean, I was just talking to him about you, and he adores you. He's in a tough spot right now. I don't know how much you follow, but he's waiting for Jon Jones. Does he move on? He feels like his career is being halted by one man. What advice, if any, would you give to Tom Aspinall, who I think is very frustrated right now because he thinks he's the best, but there's a guy holding him up?
I think Tommy needs to focus on the next task. I remember when I lost to Matsera, I was making the mistake of trying to focus on Matsera to get my revenge immediately. But I had a few other fights lined up before to get that. And if he's only focusing on Jon Jones, and if Jon Jones does not come back right away, he's not focusing on the right thing. He needs to focus on what is next, the next path.
Interestingly, Jones himself hinted at some closure in a recent Instagram post. He shared a photo of his wall of fight posters, every battle that shaped his career, notably missing his recent fight against Stipe Miocic. But Jones said there's still one perfect space left, suggesting that Aspinall might be the final chapter. The post painted a reflective Jones, proud of his legacy but not entirely done writing it. He touched on personal growth and how far he's come as a fighter, family man, and community leader. That post gave fans hope that Jones isn't quite ready to walk away yet. Behind the scenes, the UFC's 2025 calendar is starting to take shape, and insiders believe Jones versus Aspinall could headline one of the final cards of the year, possibly in September or December. Since Jones transitioned fully to heavyweight in 2020, many have speculated about when he'd face a legitimate threat in his new weight class. Aspinall seems to be that threat, but with only 2 fights in the past 5 years, Jones has kept fans guessing. wrestling. Even former rival Rashad Evans is torn. Part of him wants to see the clash, knowing it could be a historic moment, but another part admires the idea of Jones walking away on top. Evans acknowledged that there's always another opponent, another challenge, and that legacy is hard to preserve once you lose. He admitted that while he respects Jones staying away from unnecessary risk, there's also a desire to see the legend take one last test.
All right, last thing. Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, who you got?
I got Jon Jones. I think Tom Aspinall is a man, but I feel like, Jon Jones is just another level. He can do it in so many different ways with his striking, with his grappling, and I feel like, being in a situation, coming in a fight where he's kind of being pushed into this point, I feel.
Tom's a big boy.
Yeah, but I feel like with John's a big boy too, and Jon knows how to fight like a big boy. Right. One thing I feel like what Tom does really well is he moves so well, and I feel like that may give Jon a little bit of trouble, but I feel like Jon is smart enough to figure it out.
On the analysis side, Georges St-Pierre, another MMA icon, also weighed in. He called Jones arguably the greatest of all time, but acknowledged that time catches up to everyone. GSP expressed concern that Jones may no longer be in his prime, and that Aspinall, being younger and more explosive, could pose a serious threat. He hinted that if Jones does want this legacy-defining moment, it'll take both real motivation and a worthy payday to make it happen.
If I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think I would be Jon Jones. It's hard to deny that. However, nobody beats time, and Tom Aspinall is on a hell of a run now. So it's to see how they get a match. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. As a fan, I want to see this fight. I would like to see this fight, but I think Tom is very hungry, and it's up to Jon to see if he still wants to do this and if the UFC can compensate him good, because I think he deserves it. So it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Other fighters have added their voices to the conversation. Sean O'Malley suggested the fight might matter more for Aspinall than for Jones. He argued that Jones's legacy is already cemented, while for Aspinall, it's the kind of fight that could define a career.
Tom Aspinall? God damn. It's like you risk going down as no matter what, you don't have to fight again. Greatest of all time, people will say that. You're the greatest of all time. Greatest of all time, Jon Jones. Or you risk it, go fight Tom Aspinall, possibly lose, and then it's like, he was the greatest. Then they're saying, yeah, but he wasn't in his prime.
He's the fastest, quickest, most powerful heavyweight on the planet. He's the favourite against Jon Jones, and no man alive can beat Tom Aspinall, in my humble opinion. And that's with the greatest of respect to Jon Jones.
The toe came out of his skin when he fought me. He wrapped it himself to go to the press conference. He didn't want to miss his press conference. So he wraps it himself because the doctors refused. That's inappropriate treatment. We're not going to do that. We're taking you to the hospital. This is a tough guy. And when it comes to grit, and you got to have it, we know for sure that Jon does. Now, that doesn't mean that Tom does not. But we don't know that. And we don't know that those punches are as hard and as fast with equal accuracy.
On the other hand, Azamat Bakoev didn't give Aspinall much of a chance. He pointed to Jones's experience and fight IQ, saying that in a long 5-round bout, Aspinall would likely be outmatched. Bakoev doubted Aspinall could survive, let alone win, a drawn-out tactical war against someone like Jones.
Nobody can. I count Jon Jones like the best of all the time, because he making his opponents look like beginners. I think Aspinall don't have a chance with Jon Jones. He's too smart for him. Jon Aspinall, we never see him in 5 rounds. We never see him with the smart guys. We saw him only with knockout guys. Even with Pavlovich, it could be Pavlovich also could knock him out too, but Jon Jones is different. 100% Jon Jones will win easy.
Stipe Miocic, Jones's most recent opponent, offered advice to Aspinall: stay patient and avoid reckless errors. He described Jones as a strategic genius who punishes mistakes ruthlessly.
If that matchup does get booked with him and Jon Jones, what's the best advice you'd give Tom Aspinall?
Don't do what I did.
Avoid the liver shot.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? But I think Tommy, that guy, he's super tough, and he hits hard. He moves well. He's a big man. I think that he stays calm on the situation, and whatever happens, he just stays calm. I think he'll be fine. You know, he pitches shots, he's smart what he does, and I think he'll do fine.
Frank Mir also leaned into the technical angle, stating that while Aspinall's striking is dangerous, Jones's grappling could be the real game changer. Mir doubted Jones even needs this fight for his legacy, and questioned whether the risk is worth it for someone with so little left to prove.
I think Tom might have the best chance of anybody to beat Jon right now. But that being said, I still think Jon wins the fight just because of his wrestling. I think he puts, Tom on his back and is able to nullify his jiu-jitsu from being top position with his elbows and control. What does Jon win to take that fight? He goes out there and beats Tom. Is it really going to make or break his career? I don't think anybody cares.
Israel Adesanya chimed in too. He said Aspinall's striking is a serious weapon, but that Jones could easily neutralize it by taking the fight to the mat. According to him, if Jones can control the ground game, he could dictate the pace and wear Aspinall down.
But Aspinall, so far, the way he dispatched off
The Russian guy,
oh
yeah.
my God. And he's fast, but he's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're a lot thicker than I would expect. And the speed, that's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt, but Jon is...
That's different.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. They got to fight. But if they don't ever fight, we'll never know. Because we had that with Jon and Silva. We had that with Silva and GSP. So all these fights we will never see.
Arman Sarukian agreed, adding that Jones should use his reach and range to stay outside Aspinall's power zone and outscore him from a distance.
Who do you see as the #1 pound-for-pound guy in the UFC right now? Is it Islam Makhachev? Is it somebody else?
Of course, it's a Jon Jones.
It's Jon Jones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We got to get him fighting Tom Aspinall maybe this summer.
Yeah, that's the fight everybody wants to see, even me. And because young guy versus like GOAT and real like heavyweight. So I feel like it's gonna be hard for Jon Jones.
Daniel Rodriguez sympathized with Aspinall's frustration over waiting, and even admitted that he'd considered taking another opponent if he were in the same position. Rodriguez backed Jones to win, but gave Aspinall credit for his speed and athleticism, rare gifts in the heavyweight division.
Man, they're taking forever on that shit. But if I was Tom Aspinall, man, you fight somebody else, buddy, you know? But I understand how massive that fight is and the potential money it's going to make. Of course, they're going to wait around for it, but I'll probably go with Jon Jones on that, man. Although I have seen Tom Aspinall in training and how he moves like for a big ass dude. He can move around. He goes fast.
Meanwhile, Martin Tybura pointed out that the delay is only fueling the hype. He believes both camps are playing psychological games, trying to gain leverage before the UFC makes the final call. According to him, the buildup is only boosting Aspinall's star power and adding more fire to an already red-hot potential bout.
It's crazy to think what this guy is capable of and how quick that was, and where is the roof? That's the only question. Who can stop him right now? I cannot tell. I know, Jon Jones in his prime time maybe, but now he's might be a little bit older than, the skills might be not there. So I don't know. It's crazy where he's going to.
For now, everything is still on hold. The UFC wants the fight. The fans want it. The fighters are preparing in their own ways. Jones perhaps for his final test, and Aspinall for his biggest opportunity yet. The only thing standing in the way is timing, negotiation, and one final decision from the UFC machine. With Dana White's strong belief and Jones hinting at one more battle, the clock is ticking. All signs point to a monumental clash before year's end. So what are your thoughts about this? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.